Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Beyond the Spectrum.
Hello, welcome to Beyond the Spectrum. I'm Sherry, and thanks for being here today. So we're just going to do a brief video about what autism is and what it isn't. And I think this is really important to address because I know that there are a lot of misconceptions around autism. I also know personally and professionally that it can be explained in a way that's intimidating, big words, technical jargon, and it can make it hard to understand. So I'm just kind of here to help bridge that gap. So let's get into it. Again, it's going to be a brief video, so let's get into it. What is autism? So autism is, let's start with the more technical term. It is a neurodevelopmental disorder. So when you hear neuro, I want you to think about the brain. And in this case, I want you to think about the brain and the nervous system and how they work together to control our bodily functions. So bodily functions, everything that your body does. So me moving my hands and talking and breathing and blinking, all bodily functions, right? And I want you to understand that autism impacts both of those things. Like it impacts your brain and your nervous system, which has a direct impact on your bodily functions, right? So autism has a direct impact on how people communicate, social interactions, how they learn, and their behaviors. So an example I can give for communication is someone who is nonverbal, and they use communication devices to get their points across or to express their needs. And then an example I can give of social interactions, let's say that I'm on the spectrum and you're not, and we're having a conversation and you're being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like you're being sarcastic in the conversation, but I'm not picking up on the sarcasm and I'm taking the conversation literally. That can be an example of how autism directly impacts like social interactions. And then for learning, it could go either way. You can have a student who picks up information really fast and they're fine in a classroom. They have a fantastic memory, so they it's easier for them to learn. And then you could have a student who processes information slower, so they need like learning accommodations. They might need the lesson broken down a little bit more so that it's easier for them to digest. And then for behaviors, repetitive behaviors, the rocking back and forth, the tapping on the desk or tapping your foot on the floor, even the routine, like sticking to a strict routine. You hear that a lot when you hear about people with autism, but that's something that I would claim is not a myth. I would say with my chest that that's not a myth, because the structure of a routine and the repetitiveness, they know what's coming. So I think that's a good example. And then talk a little bit about what it's not. Big pet peeve of mine, autism is not a disease. It's not a disease. You cannot cure it. I just told y'all it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. So it is not something that you could go and take medicine or herbs for to get rid of it. I really don't appreciate the fact that people think we need to get rid of it. So let's throw that in the trash. It's 2025. Like, come on, if we're gonna be anything, let's be for real. I wanted to do this quick cutaway to show you guys this image of the autism spectrum because I think it does a great job at explaining the individuality. So we hear the word spectrum a lot, but it's never really explained in depth. And usually people assume that the spectrum it's linear, but it's not. The circles represent a person with autism's individuality. It shows all the characteristics they may possess, but then it shows the intensity of each characteristic. And that intensity per characteristic changes depending on the person. And that's why I like this image. And I do want to note, I love you too, kiddo. I do want to note that terms like less autistic, very autistic, high functioning, and low functioning are outdated. So if you are talking to someone with autism, make sure that you ask them what language they are comfortable with before you start using these types of terms. Yeah. Thank you for coming to my short TED Talk. Again, I'll post a longer, more in-depth video about, about what autism is and isn't, and I'll go a little bit deeper on the spectrum too. So make sure you like and subscribe. The channel is Beyond the Spectrum, of course. And if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, if you want me to elaborate on something, just put it in the comments. you know, I'm very open to conversation, especially about this. I feel like if we have more conversation about it, it'll be less negative connotation and less, you know, myths and rumors and things like that. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all for the next short informational vid.